Once again, I have hope as we listen to those comments, as we think about the optimism and this path forward. So as we wrap up here today, I want to take just a moment to do a brief reflection. I'm going to take us back to Sunday, March 12th. A date familiar to anybody? It seems like an eternity ago, but just 2 months ago. And on Sunday, March 12th, we all got the news that SVB and No Surprise Signature Bank were going to benefit from the systemic risk exception, and those depositors made whole in a rather extraordinary move. And the cost to fund this would not be paid by taxpayers. The cost would be borne by all banks. I said no. Within a matter of hours, ICBA came out with a press statement and said community banks should not pay a penny to cover the misdeeds, the sins, the bad acts, the mistakes, whatever you want to call it, for these large, risky actors. Yes, we said no. I got a lot of feedback. I said, that can't be done. Exempt community banks? Like, come on, can they even do that? We had a trade association down the street that's still trying to figure out who benefited from this and then who should pay. March 30th, just 2.5 weeks later, a statement by the President of the United States saying community banks should not have to pay the cost of this failure. May 11th, just a couple days ago, the FDIC votes on an initial proposal saying any banks under $5 billion should be exempt from paying for the failures of these institutions. Folks, this is an example of what happens when you light the fire and you light the way. Sound familiar? It's an example of what happens when you bring a tremendous amount of conviction to what you do. This isn't just about believing you can make something happen. It's about knowing that this was the right course of action. It's about knowing that what you all do is succinctly different from what we saw portrayed as small banks in this country. It's about knowing that the impact that you make in your communities is different. It's about knowing that what you do is for the right reasons day in and day out. So we lit the way with a strong dose of conviction, maybe a little bit of stubbornness too. The second thing we did is we didn't believe when folks said, you can't make this happen. For me, it's about the art of the possible, which is in the DNA of this association and each one of our members. We go up against the big dogs, we're the underdog. I mean, whatever analogy you want to use, that is what we do. That's why this association was founded, to take a position that may be contrary, but it's because it's in our best interests as an industry. It's in the best interest of the communities that we serve. And we made it happen by just getting to work. As community bankers, we roll up our sleeves and we make things happen day in and day out. You talk about being in your DNA. And a decision like this, an outcome like this, doesn't just happen because you will it to. It happens because it's built on years of your reputation, again, for doing things the right way, of leading in your communities. Your engagement, your call to action, that differentiation what happens. And a tremendous amount of effort by Team ICBA, who has not stopped working, I think, since March 12th. And even before that, because, oh yeah, we had a national convention going on at the same time, right? If you all would help me, we have a few members of Team ICBA here in this room today. You guys are gonna love me, but please stand up. Come on, yes. What this team does is personal. We got up on the stage, thank you all so much. We got up on the stage and said, because we said we would to you all. Again, that is about the passion, the conviction, making things happen. Whether we're talking about special assessments or bizarre tax reporting proposals or climate or you name it, it's about carrying that torch forward. It's about lighting the way. It's about being those difference makers. It's about being those protectors of Main Street America. That's what this team does. We build on the trust, we build on the resiliency, and again, we carry that all forward. The other thing that drove me absolutely crazy over the course of the last 2 months was the talking heads in the media. It's amazing there's not a broken television in my office or my house, as I seriously considered throwing something, and I'm not that kind of person. But when the initial media coverage was this was a small bank crisis, that the 16th largest bank in the country was a small bank, and that for some reason this was portraying seeds of doubt about small banks across this country and their ability to manage AOCI, and we're educating everybody on what unrealized losses were, and we're saying, again, no, this is not a community bank issue. And we engaged in the media, and we got that narrative out there, and we began to see a bit of a different twist. Headlines like community banks are a source of strength. What do you know? Something we've known forever, we've seen play out time and time again in every crisis. That's what community banks do. They're there for their customers in the good times and in the challenging times. This should be no surprise to anybody. But we had an incredible opportunity, oh my goodness, to change that narrative. So this morning, as I'm running through my thoughts for today and I'm getting ready, I have C-SPAN on in the background, and it's just for a little bit of noise. And all of a sudden, I hear Andrew Ross Sorkin say something like, well, let's remember, if we only had 7 or 8 banks in this country, how would we get credit out and loans out to communities across the United States? Like, he was asking that question. And so I'm like, okay, did I fall asleep? Am I dreaming? Like, what is going on here? Then Becky Quick follows with, community banks are very different from the regional banks and the largest banks. Let's remember that SVB was the 16th largest bank in this country. Wait, those are our talking points. Again, conviction, the art of the possible, and some real hard work to make it happen, because it's the right thing to do. You all remember when we were at Live, we were announcing a national public relations campaign. You know, we have done an amazing job as an industry differentiating ourselves, and we had another opportunity here to do this all over again. And ironically, we had teed up this campaign to continue this story and this narrative to customers and consumers across the country. We paused it for just a little bit, trying to figure out what was going to happen next, and on April 1st, we went live with that campaign. And it is now in markets nationwide. Thus far, in just over a month, and now let's remember what an interesting time is, because everybody's thinking about banking these days. And so when we're handing to them this message about what makes a community bank different, in this short period of time, we've had over 100 million impressions that have been served up. Our video commercials have been watched through over 20 million times. So to remind you all of what we're seeing, we've got a brief clip for this campaign here I want you to see.
ICBA is taking a bold step forward to invest in the future of community banks. Our market research shows community banks stand to gain a lot from people knowing more about them and all the good they do in the communities they serve. So at ICBA, we created a test campaign to spread the word and shine a light on community banking.
So, when I bank with you guys, where does my money go?
Oh, it goes in the tube.
Oh, no, I mean, does it help locally and stuff?
Like after the tube? We don't talk about after the tube.
Don't let a big bank make you feel small. Bank where your money makes a difference. How about a community bank?
The results of the test campaign were clear. The data proved we not only raised awareness, we elevated the perception of community banks in the eyes of consumers. We also learned that millennials are key to a bright future for our industry. As a group, they care a great deal about supporting their local community. So they show the greatest interest in community banking. Plus, they stand ready to receive the largest wealth transfer in history. With this knowledge in hand, ICBA's proven campaign is primed to go big. With national PR outreach, social media activation, ad campaigns, and more at the ready, we're poised to generate truly meaningful results. And we can accomplish so much more by working together to spread the word. Start by visiting icba.org/campaign. There, you'll find more information about the campaign, along with the ICBA National Campaign Toolkit. It's filled with business insights, research, and customizable marketing assets. With it, your bank can share in the success of the national campaign and amplify its effectiveness in your local market. There's no limit to what we can accomplish together. This is our time to shine.
If you haven't done so already, I encourage you to take a look at that website and figure out how you can use these materials to help you tell your story. Going back to what Representative Barr said this morning, that's really what makes the difference here. We're very humble in what we do as community bankers day in and day out, but it is truly your time to shine. It's time for this industry to think about how we carry this message forward. It's about how we leverage this momentum and take this momentum. The next chapter of community banking, as we think about what we've been doing for generations and the generations that'll come after us, that's how we continue to grow. That's how we continue to make the difference. It's your engagement in events like this, you taking the time out of your day-to-day to tell those stories, to amplify these messages. And we have to continue to ensure that that work moves forward. I want to take a minute today to thank our sponsor for today's breakfast, FIS. And think about, we just reflected on March 12th. How about March 12th next year? Where will we all be? Orlando, Florida. March 14th through the 17th. Hopefully it is on everybody's calendar. And just to get us thinking in the mood, why not take a look at a short clip of highlights for Orlando? Derek, you gonna be out on that jet ski? As we carry this momentum forward, as we continue to light the way, thank you for your engagement. Do me a favor, folks. These conversations that we had over the next couple of days, let's keep them going. Let's take those specific outcomes, those promises, let's follow through and make sure those members are hearing from you on a regular basis. Use our tools, whether it's Newswatch Today, our call to action alerts. That is what keeps that message in front of these members of Congress. That's what continues to get us the wins and ensure that your voices are heard. Again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your support, your engagement. And let's go get them. Guys, have a great day.